presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our NFL Week 3 Sunday recap episode. I am Chad Millman, and I am joined by my BFF, my companion, my compadre, my co-host, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon. Let me ask you a question before I bring you in. Is it possible that we are already outsmarting ourselves? We're going to get into it, but I feel like we left some serious wins on the board today. And like when you get on the call and I get on the call to do the podcast, and we both look at each other and we're like, how did we end up with this game in our final five? I feel like our process went way, way wrong.
Yeah, definitely had some regrets. I don't know what the hell happened to us. We were on such a clear path on Thursday, and we just got totally off the tracks on Sunday. So we might have to start doing your plan, which is putting our picks in on Thursday. And then if we need to change them, we will. But I think you're right. I think we need to avoid Sunday because we were locked in this week and had some bad misses.
As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. They believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today with code ACTION, and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older. You must be present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's in Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, and Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. Even though producer Tito is not here tonight, if I don't say you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube and you don't subscribe and you don't give us a like, he's going to be very upset. So please do it. Do it for Tito. Oh boy. Simon.
Yeah.
We had Denver plus 5.5. We had Atlanta plus 3.5. We had Carolina plus 5.5. We had Houston plus 7.5. We had New Orleans plus 1.5. We are 2-3 on the day. Our last bet in Denver plus 5.5. Our last out, New England minus 2.5. This was a weird freaking day. And let me just say this, okay? I want to point something out. On Thursday, when we liked the Texans, we liked the Pats. We liked the Saints. We liked Cleveland. We liked Las Vegas. We liked Denver, and we liked the Bucs. So we had 4 teams that we really, really liked that we were ready to roll with on Thursday. And somehow only a couple of those made it in, and the rest were flyers, which was unreal. What happened to us? Let's start with Houston. Houston plus 7.5. Never in question. We thought the Jags could not compete. We thought the Jags were way overrated. Talk about CJ Stroud, because you have been on CJ Stroud for more than a week saying he's the best rookie quarterback. And today I thought he kind of looked extraordinary. He made Trevor Lawrence look like he was regressing.
Yeah, pretty impressive game by CJ, but it was definitely just a Trevor Lawrence meltdown. Like, as much as I want to take credit for, he did make some good throws, CJ, and Houston's offense did look good. That was all Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the secondary is terribly banged up for Houston, and the Jaguars could not move the ball. So, yeah, every day, even though Tennessee lost, I'm still feeling pretty good about our divisional bet on Tennessee. But the Houston stuff's weird. Like, they're just that team, no matter how bad or how good the Jaguars are. It seems like they own the Jaguars. So happy we stayed away from them. Survivor Jaguars. I did take a hard look at that number. And yeah, like, I know we were scared off because we had both got 9.5 and 10 on this number with Houston, but even at 7.5, we were just like, this is too good of a number. Like, such a key number, 7.5, and it's such a good matchup. Yeah, luckily we didn't talk ourselves out of that one.
One of the few that we didn't talk ourselves out of. The Jags have not been good all season.
Nah.
And they made CJ Stroud, like, they, looking back, you can always do the transitive property, right? And you sort of can have some 2020 hindsight. That game against the Colts, turns out they were incredibly lucky. The Colts might be much better than we thought they were. And that game against the Chiefs, turns out they probably should have lost 34-9 or whatever it was, because the Chiefs had 400 yards in the game and, averaged 6 yards per play. And then we saw what they did today against the Bears, which is still, a high school defense. But CJ Stroud had a play. I don't know if you saw this play, if you were able to see this. During their second scoring drive, everybody was covered. They were deep in Jaguars territory. He had a wide open field, and it almost looked like he was jogging, and not in a lackadaisical way, but sort of, I know what I have in front of me. Let me keep my eyes downfield. I know what my options are. I'm going to make the right move. It was a very veteran savvy, in control of the offense, understanding what the defense is giving in front of him move. And I was incredibly impressed.
Yeah, CJ's good. So my biggest takeaway from that game was, glad we bet it. CJ's good, but like you just said, something's wrong with Trevor Lawrence. So that's something we'll definitely be talking about this upcoming week.
In the look ahead line, the Jags were 4.5 point underdogs, I believe, at with Pittsburgh visiting in week 4. I need to check and make sure that line is holding up here at Bet365. Give me 1 second here. They are now 3-point. Nope, that's Houston. I meant Houston, not the Jags. Houston is a 3-point dog at home against the Steelers. I don't know. We'll probably want to wait and see what happens with the game tonight, but
I'm already going to grab it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put that in there. I'm going to grab
even if Pittsburgh wins, this might move to 3.5, but this just feels like a nice number for this Houston team at home.
Yep. Look, they're going to have momentum for sure. All right, Houston +3. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, even though it's a nice letdown spot after a big divisional win, we're still taking it's a home dog. Like, that's a good number for a team that's not as bad as they are publicly perceived.
New Orleans +105. That +1.5. That was our other win today. This was a last-minute surprise entry, and we only did this because we got confirmation while you and I were on the phone that David Bakhtiari, left tackle, Christian Watson, best wide receiver, Jair Alexander, best cornerback, and Aaron Jones, best running back, would be out. The Saints had moved from +1.5 to a short favorite, so the contest was giving us a better number. So we didn't hesitate, and it was the right play. We got very lucky after Jameis came in, and that the Packers decided to play the analytics play. And when they were down, go for 2 to go up 18-17. So we don't have to have the field goal in play, because we probably would have lost. We probably would have lost by 1.5.
No, I say all the time, it's crazy how sharp the books are. And that's why we get so hung up on numbers sometimes, because all these numbers have a reason. There's like we talk all the time, all these models, you're simulating the game 10,000 times. And you're trying to predict the most likely outcome for 10,000 times the game's played. And when a number lands like that, like Chad, it's my favorite thing. Like, it landed right on 1.5. Who knows how that game would have went if their card stayed in it, but everything changed. They went from being able to drive the field, get first downs, to a 17-3 lead just disappeared as soon as he went out. So, yeah, a lot of props to Jordan Love. Guy was lost for 3 quarters, and he found it in the 4th quarter. Felt very lucky to cover that number, Chad. So thankfully, I bet it all week at 2 and 1.5. So, I mean, unless you bet it literally right before kickoff, you got screwed. But I would say most people that listen to us, they got the number earlier in the week. So that was a good one.
By the way, the Seahawks-Panthers game is not quite over yet. So if Evan or...
Don't do it to me. I don't even want to know. I know mathematically it's not dead by the percentages, but
it's over. It's over. They've not been kneeling. It's over.
All right. Matt Mitchell just told us it's officially over. All right, great. Fantastic. Do we need Jordan Love was not very good today, but at the end of the game, when they needed to get some plays, he was a baller. And he made a great back shoulder throw in the end zone to Romeo Dobbs, who made some incredible catches today.
Yeah.
Including like a shoestring fingertip back tip of the ball catch that barely kept it off the ground. Do we have to have a conversation about Jordan Love?
No. I still think it's exciting if you would bet them before the season to win this division. A lot of pros did. It's there for them. Like, they're right on line with the Lions. Like, the Lions are good, but they have a lot of weaknesses. The Packers are good, but they have some big weaknesses. And Jordan Love is inconsistent. Like, you saw there's a couple throws he missed that were deep where guys were wide open. LaFleur is a great schemer. Like, that's a lot what I'm taking out of this is Aaron Rodgers is really talented, but LaFleur definitely was helping him along the way. And he keeps putting Jordan Love in the best position. So, I still have no idea if this guy is going to be a starter in this league, but I can tell you he's proven a lot to me of his never giving up. Like, even last week we talked about he was making throws when he was getting hit, and I was like, that was a big deal to me. Like, a lot of these guys, after they get a couple hits, they get a little timid, they get a little scared. They turn into Zach Wilson, like guy you've seen who's taking these hits, and now he's a little timid. He stands in there. So, yeah, got to be excited if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, but it's still one of those teams that, like, I don't know what they are. Like, I don't know what Green Bay is. I think they're better than what I thought they were going to be heading into the season, but I still have a lot of questions about Green Bay.
Does Jordan Love become a favorites film room candidate?
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
Everyone go to YouTube, check out the YouTube only favorites film room video that Simon and I do, in which we look at the all 22 and we break down a couple plays from games that we bet on from the weekend that are making us think about how we might want to bet that team going forward. All right. For the first time, Simon, since December 30th, 2018, we had 3 upsets of over a touchdown on the same day in the NFL. Those teams were, I'm assuming, the Houston Texans, they were the Indianapolis Colts, and they were the Cardinals.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Somehow, we only had the Texans. And, like, we have made a living, literally, off of betting these huge underdogs in these spots. And we're going to get to why we didn't bet all of them. But first, let's talk about Atlanta plus 3.5. The first thing that happened when you and I got on this call was, how did Atlanta end up as our final 5? And the only note, and like, it's boggling my mind. When this game opened at 5.5 last week on Sunday night, I'm like, I love this bet. You're like, it's fishy. I don't like it. It stinks.
I know.
And your instincts were right on. I think what happened was,
even all week we talked about taking the lines too.
Yeah.
It's
and
crazy.
And
I don't know what happened.
I kept waiting. Like, I was waiting for that number to get to 3.
Oh,
and
God.
Like, I just never pulled the trigger on it. And I'm like, honestly, I feel like we suffered from a lot of wise guys buying in. And then the only note I have is, and this is not blaming it on you at all, because I jumped right in.
No, it's definitely my fault.
No. The only note I have is you saying, I feel like this is a field goal game. It's a really important hook. I think we got to take it. And, like, this is the problem. I think we need to have Mitchell on the call. You said this on Sundays, because I don't know if we're going too fast or what, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, we got to do it. Even though for 7 straight days, I'd been like, I'm not taking Atlanta.
I know. No, it's my fault. Like, we even said it before we hung up. Who's our biggest bet? And both of us said the Patriots, and we didn't have the Patriots in there. Doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to start panicking yet. We're only 1 below 500. But those little wins, losses, these add up at the end of the season. Like, that's such a big miss where we both love the Patriots. Either of us had barely any money in Atlanta. And I don't know how they ended up. It was such a stupid moment. And yeah, I didn't even think about it. Then once the game's kicked off, I was like, holy shit, I have to cheer for Atlanta in this spot. It was one of those where, like, I was just, how the hell did we end up? But it's definitely my fault. Yeah, no, I take full blame, because I think it was one of those, you're going through the numbers of each team. And when you hit that number, I was like, that's fair value for that Falcons team. And no, everything we said about them is true. That kid Desmond Ridder is not a quarterback. He's terrible. So
Terrible.
yeah. So instant regret. But that's again, we're about to talk the Denver game. I don't regret the Denver that much, but Atlanta is totally on me. Like that was such a stupid bet. Don't even know I was in there. Had barely bet it today. Hated it all week, and who knows what happened there. So yeah, definitely hate those moments.
I didn't. Not only did we have barely any money on it, I had $0 on it. I had no money.
Yeah, I probably had 1,000. Like I had two bets on it, so I had nothing on it.
Like,
Bizarre.
What happened there? All right, Denver plus 5.5. Look, we love this game all week.
Yeah,
We love Sean Payton as a dog. We
yeah.
thought there was deflation on the Broncos. We thought there was inflation on Miami. There's that week 3 stat about teams that were going home for the first time in the season as favorites. They're horrible against the spread. And yet, this one I know exactly what happened because we hesitated and I wrote this down. I read the number. We said it was 5.5. Your response was classic. You were like, it's like you had never heard this before. You were like, fuck, is it? Those bastards. And then we were off of Denver. We were like completely off of Denver. We were not going to play it.
No.
We were all in on New England.
Yeah.
And then right before I put the picks in, I think Nick Giffen, who we love and we respect.
Yeah, blame him.
He might have tracked something in the app that referenced the luck rankings and the fact that Denver has been the unluckiest team and sort of the best opportunity this week in the luck rankings, which by the way, went like 7-4 today or something like that. So it's still a winning play. It's a extraordinarily winning play, but this was one that like, we both love the luck ranking so much. You were like, oh shit, Nick Giffen just put this in as a luck ranking thing. And we're like, oh, well, we got to play it.
So, yeah. What he put in there in this spot in their luck rankings, teams with this big of discrepancy, it's 12-1, the road team on the spread as a dog. So
well, now it's 12-2.
Yeah. I don't know. People, I got the sad truth for you. It's impossible to model this Miami team. They're the glitch in the matrix. Like that was a good spot. You always play it. I will never be able to predict an offense putting up 70 points. And the biggest takeaway from it is I have to make us stay away, even though whoever plays Miami next week, the Bills, is such a great spot to take the Bills. But I can't let us do it, man. Like these Miami fans have been relentless. And I have to keep reminding them. I was the only one that believed in this Miami team last year in Tua. I was a year too early. Like I have a lot of regrets betting against them these past 3 weeks. I keep losing money and I keep losing a lot of it. And yeah, Miami's definitely my kryptonite team this year. Like I don't got to read on them. Like I couldn't believe how good they were without Waddle today. Like I thought the Waddle thing was going to be a shift for their offense to do because it would be easy. It's like, oh, you just focus on Tyreek Hill, make Tua pass the other guys, right? That was the whole goal. I think first play, it was like a middle of the field pass to Tyreek, and he just took it all the way for a touchdown. And it's like, oh, they just have no one that can keep up with him. Like it's not like the Patriots who had a guy they could stick on him. So, yeah, Miami, we never seen anything like this before. Like this offense is clicking in every way. So, definitely got to go back to the drawing board on them. Like, I don't know. I think I had them power rated AFC maybe 5 or 6, and still don't think they can stick with the Chiefs. But them and the Bills this week, that's going to be a major deciding factor for me going forward. Like whoever comes out of this game, because both of them to me are still, I still got the Bills above them, but man, like Miami right now is good. Like that, everything about that. I can't wait to watch the all 22. Every play they called was a smart play. Like it's crazy, Chad, how it's just all coming together for this Miami team. I mean, I don't know if there's a fan base out there more excited for their team. Miami looks the part. Like who's going to stop this team? It's crazy. Like I can't believe how bad of a bet that was. So luckily, quick death. I think it was 35, like 13.5. Brutal bet.
Right now the Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home against Miami.
Holy shit!
5. I know. They are begging you right now. begging you.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, because they know the public's going to be all over the Dolphins. They just scored 70 points. So, yeah, I'm going to fire away on that Bills right now.
Dude, I was in my car for 3
I can't do it. What am I doing? I'm going to fall into my old pattern again. I'm not doing it. Just staying away from it. Jesus.
Oh my God. Your look on your face. That was outstanding.
Yeah, because I just said all that. Like, I have to stick true to it. I can't.
This
Miami
is what I'm talking about.
I'm going broke betting against Miami here. They're killing me. I'm going to tell you how much I'm down on Miami.
This is why it's so interesting. You do this professionally. I have been in this business for 20 something years. And yet when it comes time to make the bet, it's like you can short circuit a little bit. Like you see something and like you immediately forget everything you had just said. And we're like, seasoned at this. It's not easy. It's not easy. Here's the good news.
That's just a nice number for the Bills.
Yeah.
Bills at home under 3. I mean, I'm not doing it, but it's an auto play.
Listen, if you're going to lose big in a record-breaking game. Also, if there's any solace here, Tyreek Hill is still in play to win the reception yardage title.
True.
And we bet him at 9-1 before the season started. Okay, the last game that we lost was Carolina. We had him at +5.5. Again, another surprise bet for me. And like when Andy Dalton was good and Frank Reich was decent, we still didn't like betting on them. So all of a sudden, like Frank Reich turns out isn't very good, and Andy Dalton is like hobbled and confused, and every other throw looks like it's on purpose going out of bounds. And yet we decided today was the day we're going to back. How dare you? We're gonna back Carolina on the road.
Andy Dalton threw for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, Chad.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is also like nearly a top 20 all-time passing yardage leader in the NFL. Doesn't mean I ever want to bet on him.
I don't blame him. I mean, he put up 27 points. That should have got us to cover. It was just the defense. They looked pretty good against the Saints, and they totally laid down in this game. And yeah, I had a great first half, and then the second half they gave up 25 points. So that was the difference. It's just the defense didn't show up. Andy Dalton did. I thought the offense played well, but yeah, you give up 37 points and you have Andy Dalton as your quarterback, you're going to lose that game and not cover. So sucks. Thought that was like a good number, but yeah, you're right. Carolina's terrible, but that's another team. Like, I like betting them. Like, even though they're terrible this week, there's little things of their team where it's like they're just missing a couple things here and there. But I wouldn't. Maybe I will stay away if it's Bryce Young as a quarterback. When Andy Dalton's their quarterback, I thought their offense played well. It's just their defense was atrocious today.
You just can't quit the red rifle. So we didn't end up with Cleveland, even though it was
a bad miss.
What happened there? Why it's like,
I don't know. Did you say the game? I didn't even pop up on my radar.
I think it was, you know what? I think the problem was it was 3.5.
Yeah, but I didn't even care. I've been betting at 3.5 all week. But yeah, I don't know what happened there.
And
still though, the Patriots is the worst one. Like, yeah. I can't believe we didn't have that in. I think they won by 5. I'm not positive.
Yep.
But it was a number where like there was a little sweat because I think they were only up 3 at one point. It was like, okay, this is why I hate myself for betting this number. And then they got a safety, and it's just like, it's Zach Wilson. That was never really in fear. So yeah, that's what I mean. I take the full blame because I don't know how the hell we had Atlanta in and not the Patriots. Like, that should have been 3-2 week.
Yeah.
Fucking 2-3 is brutal, but yeah, 1 below 500. We'll get it back next week.
On Thursday, I'll remind people that of our final 7, 5 included winners from the day: New England, Houston, New Orleans, Cleveland, and the Pats. And the 2 other games that were on the list, the Raiders and the Bucs, haven't happened yet.
No, it was bad.
Oh my God. What happened? We completely short-circuited.
No, I'm glad I'm out of AC. I think I just had too many voices in my ear down there. So
you know what?
I'm happy
so
to
glad
be back.
You say that. I'm so glad you say that, because I do want to ask you a question. Last week at this time, the Bills were 6-point favorites against the Commanders, and you and I agreed we liked the Bills at that number. I bet the Bills, and then throughout the week, my biggest bet this week was the Bills. And we talked about this on Tuesday and we talked about this on
Yeah.
Thursday. But at some point during the week, the wise guys came in on Washington. You did your favorite film session on Sam Howell, and it was a great session. And I feel like the wise guys were whispering something in your ear that made you change your mind about the Commanders.
Yeah, I knew a really smart group on the Commanders, and it's people's opinions I trust. And, I had a different opinion on the game, but I agreed with him. I thought Sam looked better, and he turned back into a pumpkin today. Once again, no one can model that. Like, you just don't know when these things are going to happen. So yeah, bad bet by them, but that that was never going to be in our contest. Luckily, I think it was 5.5, and you were trying to get me on the Bills.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get there, but it was just like, there's certain people I respect where it's like I can't go against them. Like, they know what they're looking at, and they were dead wrong. Like, total meltdown by Washington. The Commanders, Bills dominated. I think it was like 16-0 at a half. Just turnovers. They had ton of turnovers from Sam. So, yeah, good read by you. You're on that one, and the Colts you were on, which I was on the other side of. Like, thought the Ravens was a good spot. Minshew on the road. Colts were in that game from the get-go. Like, stupid turnovers by the Ravens, every little thing. And yeah, they deserved that win, the Colts. So, like you said, three dogs of 7 or more by 7 or more won outright today, and we only had one of them. That hurt.
And that's not even how we play. Like, that's not our game. Our game is to play the big dogs and the ugly games that really scare us. And we just made bad decisions today. We had, like, the week one, we made good decisions and we had some bad beats. Week 3, we just made bad decisions. And we had every game. We just made the wrong choices in the moment.
Yeah, I'm just mad about the ones we left out because it's hard to find winners, and we had a couple that we had really nailed, like pinned the games how they were going to go, and I don't know how I missed it.
Well, you know what, Simon? We can still make good choices. We can make Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. Simon, what's the appropriate amount of pizza to eat at a game day party?
The whole pie.
The whole pie. Order online during our pizza pregame 1 hour before NFL games and get ready for some football and fun. Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. Simon, if I turned into a Little Caesars pizza, would you actually eat me? There's only one answer. There's one answer. The answer is yes, Simon. However you order your Little Caesars, you win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the tastiest hour before kickoff. All right. Just a reminder. The Foxhole was New England -2.5. We didn't bother to put it in, even though the line was at 2.5 in the contest. The Big Balls was Cleveland -3.5. We didn't put it in, even though the line was 3.5.
Oh, God.
In the contest. What the actual fuck? The executive decision was Denver +7. If I'm going to lose, I want it to be ugly. The Simon says still TBD. That was that's Tampa Bay Buccaneers +5.5 against Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. Round robin, not a pretty week. Washington, nope. Denver, nope. Tampa Bay, TBD. New Orleans, nope. Houston. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the New Orleans one sucked.
That sucked. That totally sucked. Because if that wins, and we got Tampa Bay tomorrow night, all of a sudden it's 3-2 in the money line round robin parlay instead of what it is now. All right. For those who are joining us live right now, the Las Vegas Raiders are currently, I think,
-3.
-3, yeah, 3-point favorites against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This line's been steaming. It opened at 1.5. At this time last week, we said take the Raiders +1.5. It is now Raiders -3. Is this a breaking point for you, Simon? I don't play the Raiders at this point because I think the line has just steamed too far. There's too much history of teams when they go from being the underdog to the favorite, not covering. And the Raiders are one of those teams when they're playing their first home game in week 3. It's not a good scenario for them. So I only like them as an underdog or small favorite, like within the 3.
I say I took them first half, but if you don't want to take them first half on the spread, I like the under. Chris likes the under. Primetime unders are, historically they're good to take. So that's one of those numbers where I know it's come down from 44.5 to 43.5. I still think that's a nice number. So yeah, if you want some action on this game, I like Raiders first half and the under.
By the way, as we speak, there are more and more props being loaded by our experts into the Action Network app. So I would remind everybody, go check it out. I'm getting alerts for some props right now. What is our Monday Night Football lean? Fairly certain anyone listening to this podcast should know it by now, because the wise guys, including us, have been on one side all week. Simon, tell people what that is.
Tampa, and still like the Rams. If you're scared off of the number because it's come so low, I get it. The Rams are usually in this spot. I'd take the Bengals just because the Bengals are at home, 0-2 ATS. Like, it's a good spot for them, but the Joe Burrow stuff just makes me scared. Like, people really thought he wasn't going to play, and we still don't know 100% if he's going to play. So the books don't know what to do. If he does get clear, I think this moves up to -3. So that's why if you want to wait on the Rams, I get it. But yeah, if you're looking for something to bet right now, we did take Tampa. And yeah, I think Sean gave out Tampa's under, right? So
Yeah,
another prime
Sean,
time under.
Convinced me earlier today. Raybon liked the Raiders Steelers under tonight, and Sean Kerner liked the under tomorrow. Simon, did you know the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States is our sponsor, Game Time? I love Game Time for two reasons. One, because they sponsor this show. Number two, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. I've talked about it so much. They've got amazing last-minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. I'm actually opening the Game Time app right now from my house here in Connecticut. I can get into a New York Yankees game tomorrow night. $6, end of September. Beautiful night in the Bronx. $6. No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out, have some fun this week, go sweat your bets live and in person, and you can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. We talked a little bit about some early leans. Let's go to the Bet365 app right now, see what some of the lines are. Not all lines are posted yet because games are just ending, but certainly we looked at Houston +3 at home against the Steelers. We like that number. We talked about the Bills -2.5 at home against the Miami Dolphins. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, this week's really tough. Like, a lot of these lines are hanging. The book themselves don't really know what to do with some of these lines where, normally certain teams get certain advantages because they're at home. But if you're just going through, one that really jumps out, Cleveland right now is -1.5 against the Ravens.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I looked at.
Yeah. So we'll grab the Ravens as a dog, or are you thinking Browns?
Probably Ravens as a dog.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
Yeah.
Ravens played terribly.
Yep.
Browns had the best game of their season. Well, who knows? Maybe we need to revisit this Browns thing of the Browns at home are a juggernaut because they dominated the Bengals, and then today Tennessee, they dominated them like they were a different class. So just to me, that's an interesting number, though. I'd make this game a pick. It's kind of wild that the Ravens are +1.5. Another game that jumps out, but it's in London, so I won't touch it, is that Falcons Jaguars game. Like,
yeah,
Atlanta +3. It's tempting because the Jaguars do look broken, but me and Chad, we try to stay away from betting these London games. We had a bad experience with it.
It's also just like these two teams right now, there's no advantage there.
I would say there is Atlanta. Like, I don't know who was going to be on Atlanta. I feel like everyone's going to jump off it because it's what we just saw. Ritter is
terrible.
Terrible. He is terrible. I'm shocked your Bears team how far they've fallen. They are a +2.5 dog at home against Denver.
Denver.
Like, that's another line we're probably going to have to take. I'm going to wait because I think we might be able to get 3 here because it's +2.5, +100 right now for the Bears. So I'll just wait. I won't make any runners go hit that yet because to me, I'll just wait to get the 3 this week. That's definitely an interesting game. Total train wreck, though, the Bears. I mean, they could be one of those teams that, like, their whole season is just a disaster. We even talked this week, all their distractions, and they came out and laid the biggest egg of eggs.
There was no fight in that team.
No.
At all. It was truly from the second the game started, they were on their heels, backpedaling, wide open spaces. It was cool that Taylor Swift was at the game, though.
I'll hold my opinion on Taylor Swift. I don't want to get yelled at.
Oh my god, dude. All right. Taylor Swift, I feel like
Americans don't know what good music is.
You could draw a line from Shakespeare to Dickens to Twain to Springsteen to Taylor Swift. That's how good of a writer she is. She is that good of a writer.
I've lived by a philosophy that if I meet someone, they tell me they're a huge Taylor Swift fan, it lets me know all I need to know about that person. And I think many people out there know what I'm talking about.
Maybe you'll tell me off air because now I want to know, but I don't want to
know.
No,
Taylor Swift fans, like Swifties, are psychos. Like, if I meet someone, they tell me they're a Swiftie, I immediately, I go, oh, I have to go talk to that person over there. I just get out of the conversation.
By the way, you can appreciate how great she is and how she manages her business and the songwriting without feeling like you're a Swiftie.
That's fair. She's just not my cup of tea. I like Florence. I like Adele. I like British singers, you know?
I like all them too. All right, but let's get back to the games. Let's see. I mean,
these are tough lines, brother. Like, I'm trying to find us some good value, but like a lot of these are weird numbers. Like, are you people going to listen to me and take the Panthers +3 against Minnesota? Probably not, but that is a good number against Kirk Cousins, who's a train wreck right now. Yeah, like last week I had like 2 or 3 games that really jumped out. And this week, like, I kind of need to just get over it and pull the trigger where it's like Washington's +7 right now against the Eagles. That's a good number. Arizona's 14.5 against the 49ers.
Yes.
That's a good number. There's a couple big numbers here. New England +7 against the Cowboys.
Okay, hold on.
That's a good number.
The game that I want to talk about was New England +7.
Let's talk about it.
That feels a little high to me.
Yeah.
Although I am really worried about Mac Jones. Like, I don't think any offense that is created around Mac Jones is going to put him in a position to succeed. He's not very good. He's just not very good.
Dude, he played the Eagles, then Miami, and then just played in a tsunami against the Jets. It's all fair what you're saying. But that's a lot of points for a Cowboys team that I think they can be schemed up. Like, we just saw Arizona out scheme this Cowboys offense. That's just a shocking number. So again, I'm not firing away on this because I do want to run these through my model, but like Arizona, Arizona 14.5. That's crazy. But this is what it's going to be like. I think Evan joked about it earlier today that like they're begging people to bet Arizona and no one was betting them. Like, they couldn't get any Arizona money. Every parlay, everything was tied to that Cowboys game. So yeah, we're asking Lightning to strike twice, taking the Cardinals here. After a big win, they're 3-0 ATS. Crazy.
Don't forget. 3-0 against the spread, 22% of the tickets 22% or less of all tickets, Evan is telling us, in all 3 games, which is insane. But don't forget.
That's why hotels are built, brother.
Right. Don't forget, Arizona this week at home, next week on the road against San Francisco with a little bit extra time. Entirely different scenario. Betting them as big dogs.
I just love they gave us 14.5 though. Like, that's such a key number, and they're saying, please, anybody, give us something against this 49ers team in case the Arizona gets blown out here. Yeah, that's a big spread, Chad. And you know, there's a couple of big spreads that I do like. I'm not gonna like just jump on them right now, but the Chiefs versus the Jets, like, we keep talking about this Chiefs defense.
Getting better.
They're good, man. They
Chris
are.
Jones has been all over the offensive backfield. Like he is.
And their linebacking core is really good. Yeah, this Chiefs team is for real. So I see the book open them -9. I can see that getting to -10 by the time we do a show Tuesday. It just feels like everyone's going to throw that into their teasers, take the money line of the Chiefs. That's another nice number. And so, sadly, that's our Sunday night game because this was when Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be the quarterback for the Jets. So, yeah, Chad, I think I'm almost positive me and you're going to end up on the Patriots this week. Like, if they're 7.5, 6.5, how do we not take that number? Their defense is so good. The Patriots.
Simon, we're going to bet the Patriots every single week.
It's looking that way.
Here's the question. Will we remember to put them in the contest every single week? That is the question. Right now, our early leans, like we're not unloading. We're not firing every bullet on these games, but Houston +3 to me feels like the one I'm most confident in pulling the trigger on.
Okay.
Baltimore +1.5. I'm more interested in, probably 70%. I want to give it maybe an hour or two tonight and do some legwork. New England +7, Arizona 14.5, Jets +9. I'm not quite ready to unload there yet.
Yeah, if people are looking for what favorites I have bet so far, I took the Rams. They were -1 against this Colts team. Chad's definitely, I'm on the other side of Chad. Chad's a believer in this Colts team. I'm still skeptical, even though I took their over heading into the season. And another favorite I took a small bet on was the Saints. The Saints are -3 right now. Weird number. I don't know how they can hang that without knowing who the quarterback is. So I feel like they know something more than I do. So I'm just going to throw a little on this Saints -3, just in case Tampa, if they do get blown out by this Eagles team, I could see this number getting up to 4. So that's the first game back for Kamar at home. The Saints, after such a bad loss, even their defense, like this is a good spot to back the Saints team at home in a divisional game against a short week that the Bucs will be on. So, yeah, if people want to know what favorites I like the Chiefs, I like the Saints, and I like the Rams.
All right. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. They believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play, from the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today with code ACTION, and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, must be present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER in Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, and Virginia, or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. Catch our next episode live on Tuesday, 1:45 p.m. Eastern on the Action Network YouTube page and on AMP or in the Action Network app. Don't forget to download us from Apple Podcasts, from Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. For Simon Hunter, I am Chad Millman. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until Tuesday at 1:45. Love you.